So Ace Combat has had this weird journey from being the most arcade-like or literal arcade game based on flight combat simulators to being like probably the most popular combat flight simulator series. I mean, not that it's hardcore simulator, you know what I mean? I'm sure you can get a much more military style simulator game if you want. But they did get more simulator like than this. This is the most arcade like one, being a literal arcade game. I guess there was some sort of copyright issue or concern, I should say, and they called it Air Combat instead of Ace Combat. And then they later discovered, I guess, it was not a concern and released all the other games under the name Ace Combat. So the second and third game that are also on PlayStation 1 are, Ace Combat 2 and 3, respectively. I think the third one's called Ace Combat 3 Electrosphere or something. They improved technically on the games like a whole lot. I'm going to use the simple controls in the easy game setting because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just really terrible at these types of games. But this is a very, very simple flight combat game. You just fly out to where the enemies are, do dogfights with them to shoot them all down, and then you do that and find each, squad of enemies and blow them all away until the mission's over. There's no ground targets, as far as I know. There's no takeoff or landing, as far as I know. It's just shooting planes. That's literally all it is. I'll probably get bored with it after a little while. There is something else I want to play today, though, that wasn't one of the text picks. Oh, I forgot to call this text picks. Let me refresh this real quick, because this is a text picks for this week. Although I only honestly put like an hour's worth of practice into it, because it is kind of just a simplistic game. And I don't think that it's going to catch me off guard with anything, except for I do expect it to get really hard at some point, but not on any of the parts that I've played so far. All right, done messing around with that. So you can, if you put it on the more expert controls, you actually have like you can roll your ship and dive it in any direction. Whereas I'm playing it more on a plane, and it actually plays a lot like Star Wars Arcade. I've streamed the 32X version of Star Wars Arcade before, by the way. But even though it looks like you're just flying in space, you're actually on kind of a level plane where it just turns you around back and forth, and you can move up to a higher or lower altitude on this flat plane. That's the way a lot of games like this work. Um, and I don't even know that the terrain is consistent or anything. Like I said, there's no ground targets or ground details, even really. The draw distance is terrible. The models for the planes are fairly terrible. Not your own planes look fine, but the enemy ones look absolutely awful. And you can really tell if you turn up the resolution and play it in high res in an emulator that the model parts aren't even connected together, sort of. And the graphics get so much better with the second game. The second and third game are good looking PlayStation games. This is not a good looking PlayStation game. It's kind of ugly, but it's fun because you're shooting airplanes, and the controls are, as you can see, just hella simple. You got 2 buttons, or 3 if you need to change targets. You got to speed up and slow down and move around with the D-pad, and that's about it. No analog controls. This is too old for that. And I tried using the twin stick controls, which I thought would be compatible with this, but it did not work at all through emulation. So I have no idea what's going on with that. All right.
Gentlemen, you are the cream of the world's air forces. This country desperately needs your help. 6 months ago, an extremely well-armed and organized terrorist force carried out a coup d'etat. Attempts to free our country have been foiled by repeated surprise attacks. To avoid escalating this war and causing unacceptable civilian losses, we wish to employ your services. Surgical airstrikes and the elimination of enemy air superiority will tip the scales in our favor. You will receive remuneration commensurate with your positions as the premier top guns of the world.
So one thing that is fun about this is that there's a bunch of different planes, and you get to buy a bunch more planes and unlock other planes by doing missions. So, planes. Let's check them out. View aircraft. And yeah, even though we're enjoying this nice high resolution mode here too, this ends when you get in the game, which is actually kind of unfortunate. The arcade game is a high resolution, flat shaded polygon, no textures kind of thing. This one, they added textures to kind of make up for the fact that it's low resolution and very rough, just in kind of every way. I bet this game was developed quickly, would be my guess. As you see, there's a lot of planes, including the 4 that I already have. What is it, 4? 3? F14, F4. They give you enough money to buy something off the get-go, but I'm pulling that back. And it looks like there's a level select, but I mean, it seems like it unlocks one level at a time. Maybe it's so you can go back and grind earlier levels to unlock more aircraft. I doubt I'll do that.
This is an evaluation of your operational abilities. Intelligence reports an enemy supply unit moving to resupply their forward positions. You should have the advantage of surprise. You should have localized air superiority for the duration of the operation. Target, C5A supply unit. This is an evaluation of your operational abilities. Intelligence reports an enemy supply unit moving to resupply their forward positions.
Ready? Break now! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Bingo! Yahoo! Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Get shot! Don't let him get away! Back one! Focus on our 6! On our right! Focus on our 6! Up ahead! Take off! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Yahoo! Don't let him get away! Back one! On our left! Warning! Focus on our 6! Electric on our left! Enemy targets located. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Enemy in sight. Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Jesus, miss! Bingo! Yahoo! Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it! Jesus, back one! Enemy targets located. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Great shot! Back one! On our right! Up ahead! Fire! Shoot it down! Great shot! Great shot! Stay with him! He's out! Let's return to mission, buddy! Enemy targets located. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! On our right! Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! He's out! I'm losing him! Enemy targets located. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Great shot! He's out! Bingo! Yahoo! Don't let him get away! He's wasted! Mission accomplished.
Yeah, that was pretty dang fun. I'm going right into the danger zone. Right into the danger zone. Let's goose these Mavericks. You can tell I've seen Top Gun like once. No real Top Gun related memories. Not very fond of the Nintendo game either. I did everything I could to try to learn how to land that damn plane, and it only works about 40% of the time once I mastered it, which I just don't understand. Like, I followed every instruction, every description of it. Just make sure the numbers are this. Make sure you're holding this when you come in. Make sure you're looking at that. It doesn't matter what I fucking do. It doesn't fucking work. Oh, and speaking of things that have like a mini game in them that kind of doesn't work, that involves landing, I'll be playing Metal Slug First Mission tomorrow. It has these awful sequences, these parachuting sequences if you're in a plane that gets shot down. And there's a lot of ways you can avoid being in a plane that gets shot down, but there's a lot of ways you can get stuck in it too, like accidentally exiting to a level like that, or literally getting your plane shot down. And if it happens, it's just a nightmare. It's pretty much a game over, I think, for me. But it's a really interesting game. I can't wait to play it. Actually, I've been thinking about it since the last time I played it. It's a pretty good Metal Slug game. It's not what you got on the Neo Geo, but it couldn't be. The Neo Geo Pocket's like very Game Boy Color equivalent hardware in a lot of ways. So anyway, we'll check that out tomorrow, and it'll be kind of a continuation of this military action theme. Let's see if there's any new aircraft I should buy. I think that beating the first level unlocks the stealth. I think the stealth bomber. Let's see here. Yeah, it does. F-117 stealth. Which, I mean, I don't know if I've ever needed stealth in this, like, ever. To be honest. I should probably be using this MiG more because it has power and mobility instead of defense and stability. And just learn to work with that because that's probably the best way to get around. And this is another plane like that. I should probably look into it. That's a weird one. This is probably what I need though. And it puts your air combat livery on them once you buy them. Even the stealth one, so it's interesting. That cannot be changed as far as I know. You can't choose missions you've already done, and it doesn't seem to ever unlock. I mean, I don't know, maybe it unlocks more than one at a time at some point, but so far as I've played, which is like 3 or 4 levels into it, it didn't. And so this just seems like a very odd way to do this menu. Should just be next level, or view and buy aircraft.
Immediate mobilization required. Our base's position was compromised in the last enemy push. Reports indicate imminent arrival of bombers. Scramble and ace those bogies. Target B-52 Bomber Force.
Chose the same plane again without thinking. Alright, well, whatever. Or did I? I wasn't even paying attention.
Ready?
Which plane am I in? There's probably no way to tell now, huh? No. Look how short that draw distance is. I'm going to talk about this compared to PC games and stuff after another level, but it was rough. But it was also way better than we had ever had on console at the same time. It's interesting.
Enemy locked on target. Fire! Down! Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on us. On our right! Missile approaching. Dive! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Down! Bingo! Yahoo! Don't let him get away. Stay with him. Enemy targets located. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Down! Bingo! Bogey on our 6. On our right! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Down! Up ahead! Bogey on our 6. Jesus, miss! Stay with him. Enemy targets located. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! Jesus, miss! On our right! Up ahead! Jesus, miss! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! Shoot him away! On our right! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! Bingo! Yahoo! Don't let him get away! Oh. Enemy targets located. Enemy inside. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Put down! Great shot! Don't let him get away! Shoot him away! On our left! Up ahead! Bingo! Yahoo! Great shot! Don't let him get away! Stay with him! Don't let him get away! Stay with him! He's wasted! Mission accomplished.
I really kind of wanted to take that last one out with my machine guns, but no such luck. Another cool million, and I'm buying my own plane, so this is some sort of like illegal mercenary operation, no matter what the story actually says, right? Now this is what I used last time. This is probably the best plane that I've seen. This might be useful in certain situations, and maybe the stealth has a specific purpose, so maybe I'll buy it at some point. If I'm having a tough one, I might want to try this one, you know what I mean? Looks like you can only have, what is it, 8 planes in your hangar total anyway. I wonder if they offer more than 8 though? I don't know.
AWACS reports an enemy incursion in our sector. We are diverting you from local air support to forward operations. Neutralize the approaching units. Target enemy attacking force. Formation makeup is unknown. Expect enemy fighter support and a tough dogfight. Good luck.
Or we could try the highest mobility here. Let's see how that goes. Weakens me a little bit, but I think I'll be able to take stuff down pretty quick.
Ready? Break now! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot down! Quick shot! Warning! Bogey on our 6. On our left! Enemy target located. Enemy up ahead! On our left! Up ahead! Bogey on our 6. Go back, one! Take off! Enemy locked on us. Enemy locked up into approaching. Dive! Warning! On our right! Bogey on our 6. Warning! Warning! Enemy locked on us. Warning! Missile approaching. Dive! Back one! Enemy target located. Enemy up ahead! Warning! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Bogey on our 6. Warning! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Take off! Warning! Bingo! Enemy locked on us. Warning! On our left! Missile approaching. Dive! On our left! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot down! Jesus, miss! On our left! Up ahead! On our right! Up ahead! Fire! Shoot down! Bingo! Yahoo! Great shot! Blew him away! Let's return to mission, buddy! Enemy target located. On our left. Up ahead. Bogey on our 6. Jesus, miss! Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6. On our left. Bogey on our 6. Fire! Shoot it down! Take back! Take off! On our left! Up ahead! On our right! Bogey on our 6. Bingo! Yahoo! Take off! Jesus, miss! Enemy in sight. On our right! On our right! Enemy up ahead! Enemy locked on our right! Bogey on our 6. Fire! Shoot it down! Up ahead! On our right! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bogey on our 6. On our left! Up ahead! On our right! Bogey on our 6. Fire! Shoot it down! Warning! Quick shot! Warning! Take off! Warning! On our enemy locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive! On our right! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! locked on target. Fire! Shoot down! Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! On our left! Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot down! Wasted! Mission accomplished.
Man, I got Harry at the end. I damn near had a collision with that dude. Pretty cool stuff, though. This is fun, but it reminds me of a game that I played. This has just been on the backlog forever. I played like a demo of it back in the day, and I played its sequels, which are great games, and I'll play them at some point. So this is just something I wanted to go back and check out, kind of, because I knew I would appreciate how simple it is, and I do. But I was never a big flight simulator guy, and you can see I'm not great at like flight combat games at all. It's awkward as heck for me. I was never good at Wing Commander or anything like that. But the one that I loved back in the day was the Jet Fighter series. I guess there's 3 of them. I think the one I played the most was Jet Fighter 2, and it was kind of just this. I mean, it was like the main thing in the game was like go fly out to where this squad is and wipe them all out, and then fly to another squad and wipe them all out. And that was generally what the gameplay was. Very similar lock on and flight mechanics. I think it did have takeoff and landing, maybe. I do not think that it had ground stuff, really. It was mostly just flight combat. Great game, very arcade-like compared to other DOS PC flight combat games. I could not get into the other ones, like that Strike Commander or whatever. What were the other big shooter ones? I don't even know, man. I didn't like most of them very much. I played a little bit of A-10 Tank Killer from Dynamics, and some of the more, some of that stuff. I didn't really like any, and I liked Comanche, which is a helicopter game, pretty well. But really, Jet Fighter 2 was like, as far as flight combat goes, was just about perfect for me, and I will stream it at some point in the not too distant future, because this game's really got me thinking about it a whole lot. And apparently there was a 3rd one, and it looks pretty fancy. It was like that's a good point too. The 3rd one looks like it came out in 1996, and also looks like full generation ahead of this game. DOS was still doing this stuff much better than home consoles were at the time, even though home console versions of things like fighting games that were in 3D and stuff were way better on console. So there was a bit of disparity in game types and stuff depending on what you wanted to play back then, which made this game a breath of fresh air in a lot of ways, because you just didn't get a lot of these. And almost every example of a flight combat game, military flight combat game prior to this on console is something that I probably would not want to play at all. Not too much. Maybe like something simple like G-Lock is like good for a laugh for a minute, but none of the ones that really try to be, in an open space. Very few of them are fun, I'll say. Seeing a look at this bad boy. I need this.
Up to now, our offensive missions have been constrained by the presence of civilians in Donut City. A recent evacuation of that city permits us to engage hard targets within the city perimeter. Target 1, Computer Communication Center.
Oh, that does look like a ground target.
Headquarters building. Night conditions should neutralize enemy ground fire. However, the city has at least 3 interceptors available.
Maybe I was wrong.
No intelligence on force composition. From now on, you will have a wingman assigned to you. Inform him of the operation before departure.
Oh, so the wingman's optional too. Yeah, see, they're adding some complexity here. Oh, the wingman costs money? I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll give it a shot. Yeah, give me just a second here and I'll take a quick break and we'll fly with a wingman. Interesting. Alright, let's see what kind of support we can get here. Cost $1 million. Cost $2 million. Why does a rookie cost $2 million with a veteran cost $1 million? That seems stupid. I think secure the construct is the instructions I want. And this is a $3 million rookie? What's up with that? $3 million veteran. It seems like the way to go is to go with a $1 million veteran. Maybe I'm crazy. He's got a stealth bomber though, which is, well, you know, for what he's doing, it's probably the perfect thing. This seems to make sense.
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Up ahead!
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body
Close to
damage.
12 o'clock. Focus on our 6. On our right. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Focus on our 6. Up ahead! On our right! Focus on our 6. Enemy on our right!
Warning.
Enemy locked on us. Oh, missile approaching. Die! Die!
Caution.
Westward, Jesus, miss! Focus at 12 o'clock. Altitude too low. Flying!
Caution.
Enemy in
Low
sight.
altitude.
On our left. Focus on our 6. Focus on our tail. Take off. On our right. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Jesus, miss. Enemy in sight. Fire. Shoot it down. Wait. On our right. Focus on our 6. On our right. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. They blew him away. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy target located.
Alert. Body damage.
Altitude
Alert.
low.
Body
Fire.
damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body
Enemy in
damage.
sight.
Alert. Body damage. Warning.
Focus on our 6. On our left. Up ahead. Focus on our 6. Jesus, miss! Take off! On our right. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Out! On our right. Up ahead. Fire! Shoot it down! Stay with him. Don't let him get away. Wasted! Enemy in sight.
Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage.
Enemy in sight. Wingman is in trouble. Let's get in there. Enemy
Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage.
too low.
Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage.
Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Great Enemy in sight. Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution. Caution.
Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy locked on target.
Alert,
Altitude
body
too low.
damage.
Flying.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy target located. On our left. Enemy locked on target. Up ahead. Bogey on our 6. On our right. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot it down. Bingo. Yeah. Bogey on our 6. Let's return. Take off. Bogey on our tail. On our left. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Bogey on our 6. On our left. Let's return to mid. Up ahead. On our right. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Back one. Enemy target located. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Enemy target located. On our right. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Jesus, miss. On our left. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. He's wasted. Enemy locked on target.
Alert, body damage.
What I was doing there at the end was the correct strategy, though. I now get it. You want to. What I did wrong, and it's pretty obvious now, is that I was slowing down to really focus my fire down on the turrets. The turrets don't take that much fire, and even if they did, it would still be the wrong strategy. What you want to do is you want to zap in really fast and like fire at them and pull up, and then you'll take very little damage. Like I don't know if I can completely avoid their shots, but I think I can get it down to where it's just almost nothing if I just dive in and then do it again. So, I don't know. We'll give it a shot. I may be stuck. We'll see.
Up to now, our offensive missions have been constrained by the presence of civilians in Donut City. The recent evacuation of that city permits us to engage hard targets within the city perimeter. Target 1, Computer Communications Center. Target 2, Enemy Headquarters Building. Night conditions should neutralize enemy ground fire. However, the city has at least 3 interceptors available. We have no intelligence on force composition. From now on, you will have a wingman assigned to you. Inform him of the operation before departure.
Defense is king here. I gotta stay alive. And this is really the best all-arounder, isn't it?
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body
Enemy in sight.
damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body
Bogey on our
damage.
six. Fire! Shoot it down! Up ahead! Blew him away! On our right! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Don't let him get away! Great shot! Stay with him! Blew him away! Enemy targets located. On our right. Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy in sight.
Alert, body damage. Alert,
Enemy
body
target located.
damage.
Enemy locked on target. On our left. Bogey on our six. On our left. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot down. Enemy target located. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot down. Wasted. I'm losing him. Let's return to mission, buddy. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Great shot! Let's return to mission, buddy. Enemy targets located. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Bingo. Yahoo! On our right. On our right. Up ahead. Bogey on our six. Enemy locked on. Take off. Bingo. Bogey on our six. Enemy locked on target. Bingo. Take off. Bogey at 12 o'clock. Bogey at 12 o'clock. On our left. Bogey on our tail. On our right. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Jesus, miss. Enemy in sight. Fire. Shoot it down. in sight. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Stay with Jesus! Miss! Don't let him get away! Bring the back one! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Bring shot! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Bingo! Yahoo! Mission accomplished.
Yeah, once you know how to do it, hitting the ground targets is not that hard and is more fun than I thought it was, because you don't want to like deal with them and like fly around and shoot right at them. You want to strafe in, click those targets in, and then just get the hell out. It's awesome. This is a very satisfying feeling game to play, actually. Namco were good at that. Ridge Racer's a satisfying game to play. Tekken, especially from 2 on, satisfying games to play. I'm a little harsh on Tekken 1. It's not that bad. In fact, had I played Tekken 1 instead of Toshinden, I probably would have a lot more nostalgia for it and would have thought it was, obviously it's a much better game in a lot of ways. Oh, see, finally choice. Look, they're giving me a choice finally. Okay. Interesting. Well, what do these options sound like? Destroy pipeline, so that's a ground target, which I'm not super into. Destroy production target, ground target. It's not awful though. Like I said, it's a lot more fun when you know to just kind of hit and run. Which one pays more? 8,400,000 versus 12 million. Of course, I want the 12 million. What if it's harder? Yeah, that's not good though. Why would I want that? I wish I feel like there's a stat that's missing to explain stuff like this. You know what I mean? Oh, the A10. Hell yeah. It's slow, but it's awesome in every other regard. And we're doing like ground strikes. Well, this seems obvious. I mean, and also I have, like I mentioned earlier, A10 Tank Killer was something I used to play back in the day. So some fondness for the Tank Killer. The Devil's Cross here. Okay. What does this do? Hopefully it doesn't affect it. Oh, you can go back. So there are points you can move to. I guess just the very few points where it's going to pivot. Maybe it's not very few. I don't really know how many missions we're looking at here. Let's go into the mountains and destroy the pipelines with the A10. That sounds awesome.
Reconnaissance indicates a weak link in their fuel supply infrastructure. A single pipeline transfers all crude oil from their fields to their refinery. Strike both the pipeline and the refinery. Target: oil refinery plant and oil field. Use the pipeline as a reference to the refinery. Locate and destroy.
I think I'm going to pay more attention to their aircraft than their price or anything else, since I can kind of afford to do that right now. And think of what would make sense for this mission. Thinking Sergio here. Alright. Are we gonna go with guard my tail? Probably. Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Enemy locked on target. Focus 12 o'clock. Bogey on our 6. On our right. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot him down. Jesus. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead. Stay with me. On our left. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot it down. Jesus, miss. On our left. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot it down. Blew him away.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy in sight. Enemy too low. Flying.
Caution.
Enemy locked on target.
No altitude.
Shot.
Caution.
Too low. Flying. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Altitude too low. Flying. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Let's return to mission, buddy!
What do they want me to do here? Feels like I'm done. Feels like I did all the stuff. Everything's burning and destroyed. What else are we doing? What else are we doing? I feel like the map needs to zoom out more or something, but I don't think there's a way to do that. What are we missing here, you know? I'm just gonna follow this and see where it goes. I have no reason not to. They're gonna say return to mission area, but what the fuck is the mission area? What even is that? This looks like some shit that I need to blow up. How come it wasn't on the map? How come it wasn't on the map? I'm gonna concern myself with the flying targets first, of course.
Alert, body damage. Alert,
Enemy
body
target
damage.
mostly on our 6.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body
On
damage.
our left.
Alert, body damage.
On the head. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot down! Ammo! Mostly on our 6. On our left. On the head. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Don't let him get Jesus, miss! Stay with him. Bingo! Yahoo! Let's return Act 1! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on. Altitude too low. Flying. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Let's return to mission, buddy!
I mean, should I fly to unknown? Is that where I'm supposed to be going? I don't understand where I'm supposed to be going. There's some non-existent guidance here that's just missing on this level. I hate it. Does anyone understand what the deal is here? Like, I'm literally in the middle of the area they've labeled as unknown. Is there just no meaning in any of that? It seems like there cannot possibly be. And that the only real place of action on the map is this central marked area, and I assume any pipeline that spokes off of it? I'm very confused here.
Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. On our left, bogey on our 6. On our left. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. On our right. Bogey on our 6. Okay, up ahead. Jesus, back one. Enemy target located. Up ahead. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Jesus, miss. On our right. Up ahead. Enemy in sight. Fire. Shoot it down. Quick shot. Stay with him. Quick shot. Don't shoot him away. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Altitude too low. Flying. Enemy in sight. Enemy bingo! Yahoo! Enemy in sight. Great shot! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked. Too low.
Halted.
I'm losing him. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target.
Halted.
Shot. Enemy target located. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Bingo. Bogey on our 6. On our right. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot down. Bingo. Back one. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot down. Bingo. Yahoo! Don't let back one. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Quick shot. Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Quick shot.
Yeah, my dumbass figured it out eventually. I almost wasted all my fuel, but yeah, you just have to follow the pipelines from the only marked location and destroy everything at the end of each of them. Pretty cool stuff, actually. I had a lot of fun on that one too once I figured it out. And the environments and stuff are getting a little more complex and interesting. Now, when examined up close, they aren't really any better than something like Pilot Wings, but it maintains that kind of smoothness and has just enough more 3D to make everything in a low resolution way come across like a PC flight sim, kind of its era. Not the highest end ones, but you know. But it's actually like a lot more fun to play than most of this type of stuff. But I don't know, maybe not. I really had a lot of fun when I played like Rogue Squadron and some of those games. So maybe I'm really just getting into this type of game more. I don't know. The good news is that Model 1 emulations come a long way. I'll be able to show you the Model 1 Star Wars arcade game, and that's a really fun flying around and shooting stuff game. Let's go ahead and do level 6 before we do 7. Just seems more sensible. Oh, let's see if there's... I think I've got one more space in my hangar where I could, like, buy something. Maybe 2 more. Is there anything new, though? Oh, yeah. Maybe there's a reason for a highly defensive stealth aircraft at some point. Let's get this weird experimental looking shit in our hangar. We're not going to use it. Nope. But cool. I'm actually going to use the A-10 again because this sounds like another ground bombing mission type thing. A lot of these do, you know. Suppressed radar base might have a lot of flight combat though, so I might spread it out a little more there. Gosh, this is a lot of fun. Yeah, it's crazy because this series just gets better for quite a while. Then there's, you know, entries that are a little more debatable later on, I guess. But most of it's really awesome. So I'll be back here soon with more Ace Combat, aka Air Combat, aka Ace Combat. I'm back. I'm gonna play some more air combat. Let's rock and roll with Mission 6 and destroy the production site.
The enemy has proved to have significant resources. This war of attrition is not to our advantage. We are now targeting key infrastructure sites. Target: resources mining system and production plant. Intelligence reports stealth fighters operating in this theater. Remember, their lack of radar signature makes visual sighting essential.
Hey, sorry to have to take another break real quick, but something did come up. So I'm going to step away for just I don't know, another 5 minutes or so. We've been into this for a minute. I'm having a lot of fun with this game now. So I was going to say, one thing I would recommend for anyone playing this is to go ahead and use the upscaling in an emulator. It makes it a lot easier to make out targets and stuff. I mean, you don't have to. It's playable either way for sure, but it's nice with high resolution. But I always present games in the way they originally looked as well in these streams. So I think it's cool either way. Yeah, Air Combat, also known as Ace Combat. I'll be back soon. Thanks for watching. Alright, I'm back with more of this. I feel like the early PlayStation library had some real bangers in it, and a whole lot of them were from Namco. There's some surprisingly fun stuff there, though. Even outside of Namco, like I said, with Raiden Project, of course, there's Wipeout. There's just, you had a great selection of games right away. Games that still hold up to this day, I think. I think this is a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to playing the sequels as well. Alright, some more air combat, or as y'all know it, ace combat.
Enemy targets located. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Focus on our six. On our left. Up ahead. Enemy locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive! Dive! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus! Miss! Focus on our six. Up ahead! Focus on our six.
Warning.
Up ahead! Focus on our six. Back one! Focus on our tail! On our left! Up ahead! Focus on our six. Take off! On our right! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! On our right! Let's return to mission, buddy. Up ahead! Fire! Shoot it down! He's wasted! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Jesus, miss!
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Let's return to mission, buddy. Enemy in sight. Altitude too low. Climb.
Caution. Low altitude.
Enemy locked on target.
Alert,
Altitude too low.
body
Climb.
damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body
Enemy in
damage.
sight.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy locked on target. Altitude too low. Climb. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located. Enemy
Warning.
locked on us. Bogey on our tail. Missile approaching. Dive. Dive. Enemy locked on target. Fire.
Warning.
Bogey on our six. Bogey on our tail. On our right. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shooting down. Jesus, miss. On our right. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shooting down. Bingo. Yahoo! Blew him away. Jesus, miss. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Enemy great shot. Bingo! Yahoo! Let's return to mission, buddy. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Enemy target located.
Warning.
Locked on target. Fire!
Warning.
Bogey on our six. Bogey on our tail. Enemy target located. Take off. Locked on us. Missile approaching.
Caution.
Dive. Dive.
Caution.
Bogey on
Caution.
our six. On our left. Enemy target located. Enemy locked on target. Bogey on our six. Jesus, miss.
Warning.
Jesus. Enemy locked on us.
Warning.
Missile
Warning.
approaching. Dive. Dive.
Caution.
Bogey on our six. Enemy in sight. Bogey on our six. Enemy in sight. Up
Warning.
ahead. Take off. On our right. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Bingo. Yahoo! Don't let him get away. Bring back one.
Warning.
On our right. Bogey on our six. Right. On our left. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Jesus, miss. Enemy in sight. Fire. Bingo. Yeah. Wasted. I'm losing him. Let's return to mission, buddy. Enemy in sight. Jesus, miss. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Altitude too low. Flying. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! Mission accomplished.
Am I crazy here, or are these exactly the same in every single way? Why is it duplicated in here? I mean, it's probably the one I'm going to buy anything anyway, but why? I just don't. And I already have this. Why is it duplicated in here again? What's different about this one? Absolutely nothing. Really strange. Use it. I'm probably going to use the F-15 on this one, actually, if I go where I think I'm going to go, which would be back over here. Radar base, that's right. Here we go.
The enemy's ADCRS, Air Defense Command and Radar System, has been identified. We can expect a steep drop in enemy effectiveness if this site is destroyed. The enemy has an effective SAM
Oh shit, this is another bombing run. I mean, why wouldn't I use the A-10?
A narrow ravine leading to the base. This requires precision, nap of the earth flying. Target, enemy radar site.
Oh, because I have to be in... Well, no, it's probably good to be in a slow vehicle, too. I don't know, I think I'm probably going to stick with the A-10. I don't know.
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Blew him away! Up ahead! Enemy in sight. On our right! Boogie on our tail!
Alert, body damage.
Like this truly seems awful. I don't think I actually want to do this mission. Like I just don't even want to do it. Enemies get behind you and stuff. There's no room to turn around. You can't fly out of the ravine. It's like you have to get everything on your first go, but everything passes too fast, even in an A10 that I'm dragging as slow as I can without stalling out. Like it's just I don't get it. I don't understand how to do that one. Once I start saying stuff like that enough, we'll know we've had enough air combat. But it is really fun. I could even enjoy just the first few missions over and over again in this. I wish there were more modes and dumb crap to do like that. That'd be cool. Like endlessly shoot down planes or something like that, and have to destroy a certain number to get some ammo back, or something like that. Some sort of survival mode would be fun. I don't know if they ever did anything like that though. I think it was always kind of campaign focused.
Regaining Donetsk City is a prime strategic consideration for the enemy. To forestall offensive operations, we will strike their staging area. Target, staging facilities and B-1 bombers. Our goal is to hit them just before their incursion begins.
Ready? Break now! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Wait! Bogey on our 6. On our left! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Stay with him. Jesus, miss! Don't let him get away. Bingo! Yahoo! Jesus, miss! They wasted on our left. And up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Blew him away on our left. Enemy in sight. Let's return to mission, buddy. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! On our left. Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Stay with the Jesus, miss! Don't let it go! Yahoo! Jesus, miss! Bogey on our 6. Jesus, miss! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Westward on our right! Bogey on our 6. On our left! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down!
Caution.
Pull out of it!
Engine
On
stall.
our right! On our left! Bogey on our 6. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo!
Warning.
Blew him away! On our left! Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive! Dive!
Caution.
Bogey on our 6. On our left!
Warning.
Bogey on our 6. Westward turn to misses, buddy. Take off. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Jesus, miss. On our left. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot it down. Toast. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Enemy in sight. Bingo! Yeah. Enemy target located. Bogey at 12 o'clock. Bingo! Bogey on our tail. Bogey on our 6. On our right. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Enemy target located.
Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage.
Up ahead!
Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body
Bogey on our
damage.
6.
Alert. Body damage.
On our right. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! On our right. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Back one! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target.
Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage.
Enemy in sight. Altitude too low. Climb. Great shot. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Great shot! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Mission accomplished.
I mean, it didn't pay a lot, but it was a pretty easy mission, so I guess I see why. There's a bit of dangers on doing the little bombing runs down into the little canyons. Obviously, if you don't do it from an angle where you can't pull up enough, you're going to eat the wall. But I did a pretty good job of taking that into consideration, that time at least. But that canyon seems like too much, and it seems like a dead end. It seems like an extra mission if you really want to challenge yourself, and I don't. I'm going to move on. That sounds like it'd probably be pretty fun. Let's do the VIP recovery mission. I'm only going to do a few more of these probably, but I really like this game. It was worth the time I spent with it, and I want to see the sequels. I know I have 4 on PS2 or 5. Are they both on PS2? I'm pretty sure 6 was an Xbox 360 game, and I think I may have it. I'll have to look around. And I got 7 for free off of PSN recently, so we could really go far into it if we want to. And maybe over time I will slowly, you know. But I might look at 2 after not too long, because I'm really interested now. I know I played it before, but I'd like to go back to it. I've never streamed it or anything. It's been a long time since I played it.
Your mercenary unit has proved its reliability.
Also, I'm not sure that I've ever played 3. I remember seeing it and being like, wow, they're going a weird direction with this.
You can only send 1 unit without alerting the opposition. Target: cripple enemy air defense and land on their runway. Only you have the requisite skills. You will be paid handsomely.
No option to have a sidekick on this one. Okay.
Ready? Break now! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down!
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy targets located.
Alert, body damage.
On our left!
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bogey on our 6. On our right!
Warning,
Up ahead!
warning,
Enemy locked on target. Locked on us.
warning.
On our right! Missile approaching. Dive! Dive! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Great shot! Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! Back 1! Let's return to mission, buddy! Enemy targets located. Enemy
Warning.
locked on us.
Warning.
Bogey on our visual approaching. Dive! Bogey at 12 o'clock. Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot down! Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! Up ahead! Bogey on our 6. Quick shot! Take off! Bogey on our tail! Enemy targets located. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! On our right! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! On our right! Up ahead! Up ahead! On our right! Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Quick shot! Blew him away! Let's return to mission, buddy! Enemy targets located. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our tail! On our left! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Quick! Blew him away!
The enemy is committing its huge mothership to this theater. They are growing desperate. Eliminate the mothership and their naval mobility is crippled. There are no reference points on the ocean. Pay attention to the operational map. Target mothership.
Yeah, F-15 brothers doing it. Out there doing it in the F-15. That's what everyone's flying. It just seems like it has the best stats. I mean, what even is stability? And its mobility is good enough, and then it's excellent in everything else.
Break now. Enemy targets located. On our left. On our left. Up ahead.
Warning.
Locked on us.
Warning.
Missile approaching.
Caution.
Dive.
Caution.
Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. Hold me on our six. Hold me on our six. Bingo! Hold me on our six. Enemy in sight. Hold me on our six. Back one. On our left. Hold me on our tail. Take off. On our left. On our left. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. Enemy. Hold me on our six. Up ahead. Fire. Put it down. Bingo. Yahoo! West Bridge. On our left. Enemy target. Hold me on our six. On our left. On our right. Enemy in sight. Hold me on our tail. Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Back one! Enemy target located. Hold me on our tail! On our left! Up ahead! Hold me on our tail! On our left! Up ahead! Fire! Put it down! Jesus, miss! Hold me on our tail! Up ahead! On our right! Up ahead! Fire! Put it down! Great shot! Out! Enemy in sight! Enemy in sight! Enemy locked on target!
Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage.
Enemy target located. Hold me on our six. Enemy target located. Hold me on our six.
Caution.
Great shot! Enemy target located. Enemy target located. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! On our left! Hold me on our six. West Bridge, hold me on our tail! On our left! Enemy in sight. Up ahead! On our right! Up ahead! Hold me on our six. Jesus, miss! Take off! Don't bingo! Yahoo! Enemy target located. Hold me on our six. Take off! On our left! Enemy in sight. Up ahead! Fire! Shoot it down! On our left! Jesus, miss! Stall! Pull out of it!
Engine stall.
On our left! Bogey on our 6! Up ahead!
Warning.
Take off!
Warning.
Stay with me!
Warning.
Bogey on our tail!
Warning. Warning. Warning.
On our left! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot down! Bingo, that's one! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Altitude too low. Flying!
Caution.
Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Quick shot! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Quick shot!
It literally drives me insane that it's ES instead of SE. Like is there a hack for this to fix it?
Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target.
Caution.
Quick shot!
Caution.
Too low. Flying!
Caution.
Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! I'm losing it! Let's return to mission, buddy! Altitude too low. Flying!
Caution. Low altitude. Caution.
Too low. Flying!
Low altitude.
Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Quick shot! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Quick shot! Mission accomplished.
Getting to shoot boats was fun too. Especially there at the end when I got two of them lined up and I was able to like hit one, hit the next. I did take some damage that time though. That wasn't easy by any means. some of the power, none of the stability of or offensive capabilities of an EF-2000. Gosh, I gotta get one of those in a hurry. Like, seriously, what's the upside with that piece of shit? It costs more money, too. It costs twice as much. Half as good, twice as much? I don't get it.
Our offensive operations are now concentrated on the Scorpion Island fortress. The base itself is a hard nut to crack, but we will isolate it by eliminating its bridge and central runway. Target, Red Suspension Bridge to the island and its Air Force base. There will be plenty of ACAC and SAM defenses around the runway. Go in for one pass, then break off operations.
Let's try this. Let's try sending one of them into the airport like we sort of tried the first time around, except for we'll find somebody who's, yeah, like Sally here in her A-10. That makes sense. I will fly my trusty F-15.
Ready? Break now! Enemy target located. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire!
Alert, body damage.
6.
Alert, body damage.
Enemy target located.
Alert, body damage.
Take off!
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down!
Alert,
Focus on our
body
6.
damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Take off!
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Warning.
On our left! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Oh, on our left! Bogey on our 6. On our left! Up ahead! Fire! Shoot it down! Bogey on our 6.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Take off!
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
On our left! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Wasted! Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Enemy in sight. locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bring stop! Bogey on our 6. Take off! Enemy in sight. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! Enemy target. Bogey on our 6. On our right! Up ahead! Fire! Shoot it down! Bring it! Out! I'm losing him! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on altitude too low. Climb! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
I'm losing him. I'm losing him. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target.
Caution. 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 Caution.
Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target.
Caution.
Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution.
Enemy in sight. Let's return to mission, buddy. Enemy locked on target.
Caution.
Altitude too low.
Caution.
Flying.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert,
Enemy
body
in sight.
damage.
Enemy in sight.
Caution.
Enemy locked on
Alert,
target.
body damage.
I was about to say I was going to wrap it up. I think I am going to give it one more go. This game is pretty addictive, and I really enjoy it. Air combat, ace combat. You really could. I mean, I personally couldn't enjoy most of these types of games that existed prior to this on the PlayStation. Home consoles just didn't have the hardware to do it. They just didn't. Most flight stuff that renders things in 3D required more math than home consoles were designed to do, and they just worked better on PC for that reason. It was actually good that they used such non-standard rendering techniques because they needed to be 3D. Because PCs didn't have any hardware to accelerate that. They weren't designed to do traditional 2D games, but they were great at this kind of stuff. And then, yeah, it finally tables started to finally turn with this, I think, and it got more to where you could get a more equal experience as far as that kind of thing goes, at least reasonably. Maybe not as fancy as the fanciest flight simulator you can get, but you know.
Our offensive operations are now concentrated on the Scorpion Island fortress.
Alright, concentrating on Scorpion. What did I do? I did something wrong, right?
Our offensive operations are now concentrated on the Scorpion Island fortress.
Lead money.
Hard nut to crack.
I'm gonna have somebody guard my tail instead of rushing. It was an interesting experiment, but I think it would have been much more effective to have a high defense plane tailing me all the time.
Go in for one pass, then break off operations.
Which I believe this is. He's like the most expensive dude, too. And she kind of is, but I feel like she's gonna be too slow to keep up with me. And that always brings us back to Joe. I don't know if this guy will... I mean, let's give him a shot. He's an ace. Guarding my tail. Yeah, see, that's a high defense plane. Probably the highest defense one I have, but I don't necessarily want to use it just for that reason. This offense is weak. And the F-15's always been the good call there. Oh, it was my F-15. It was destroyed. I get it. Oh, shit. I'm going to fly the F-14. It's fine. Maybe its mobility ain't great. Maybe I'll fly it right into the ground. Maybe I need something with higher mobility. Let's try this. I mean, I know I could go buy another plane, but I mean... yeah. I already spent so much money on the sidekick.
Ready? Right now! I'm losing him! Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Down! Jesus! Bogey on our 6. On our left. On the head. Bogey on our 6. On our right. On the head. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Down! Jesus! Miss! On our left. Jesus! Miss! On the head. Fire! Shoot it down! On our left. Bogey on our 6. Take off! Enemy targets located. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Down! Out! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Too low. Flying. Jesus, miss! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy target located. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Bingo! Bogey on our 6. Enemy target. Take off. On our left. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire.
Alert,
Bogey on
body
our 6.
damage. Alert, body
Enemy
damage.
target located.
Alert, body damage.
Take off.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy target located. Enemy target located. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Quick shot! Don't let him get away! He's out! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Unhit!
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Quick shot! I'm losing him! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Altitude too low. Flying.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight.
Caution.
Enemy.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target.
Caution.
Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Quick shot! Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! On our left. Enemy up ahead. Quick shot! Bogey at 12 o'clock. Bogey on on our 6. Bingo! Yahoo! On our right. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead. Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Enemy locked on us. Enemy targets located. On our right. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Yahoo! On our right. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. On our left. Enemy in sight. Up ahead.
Man, I kind of knew it was coming, but by the time I actually knew it was coming, I couldn't do anything. I am going to wrap it up there. I almost have to peel myself away from this. It's pretty fun. Air Combat for the original PlayStation. Just because it was an early title doesn't mean it's not worth playing. Same thing I'd say for Ridge Racer, Wipeout, Raiden Project, probably Warhawks, although I'm going to have to go back and play that again. Twisted Metal. The list goes on and on and on. Early PlayStation was as good as late PlayStation in a lot of ways, depending on what kind of games you're looking for. If you like vehicle stuff, there were so many options, including flight combat. You know, you got both Warhawks and Air Combat coming out right away. If you like fighting games, there were tons of options. It was great. Stayed great. That's really... It's sad to see how poorly all the game companies are doing. And I'm not even getting into the whole physical versus digital crap, which I barely care about. The actual secret to preserving games, by the way, is you got to learn how to emulate and, like, you know, use a computer and back up stuff and recompile games and things like that. Like, it's going to be all about, like, recomps and emulation in the future, and that's kind of the way it works. This is presented via emulation, but I promise you, it's the same experience. Play it on a PlayStation, play it however you want. Really fun game. We will check out the sequel. I don't even know if I'll wait that long to get into that, because, you know, maybe here in a few months we'll check that out, because this is a lot of fun. Air Combat, Ace Combat, doesn't matter what you call it. I call it an 8 out of 10. Pretty solid text picks. The next one for this weekend is Metal Slug First Mission for the Neo Geo Pocket Color. It'll be the first Neo Geo Pocket game I've ever streamed, so that'll be neat.